All right, good afternoon. Thank you so much here for being with us, CSUN ATC TV. And we're rounding down to the last part of the day, but we have left the best for the last. Is that how that expression goes in here? We have with us two of our colleagues in the field. This is our fireside chat session. The theme today is inclusive design in the real world. We have with us Delaney Cowart. From the Shepherd Center. Is it the Shepherd Center or is it just Shepherd Center?
Just Shepherd Center.
Just Shepherd Center. It's not Alan Shepherd, it's just Shepherd Center. Okay.
Shepherd Center.
Okay, good. And then we have Olenka Virial. Say it again? Good enough. Got to get her mic on, please, here. Okay, good. And Olenka, you're with Magical Bridge Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about Magical Bridge, the foundation, what you do, and some of the goals of the organization?
Hi, everybody. Nice to be here.
Hold on. Is it on?
Nice to be here. Check.
Can we help her with
Nice
the mic,
to be
please?
here. Oh,
There
here we go. Take 3. Okay, Olenka Villarreal. Nice to be here. I'm with Magical Bridge Foundation. We're based in Palo Alto, California. And we exist to create playgrounds, parks, and companion programs that really serve the needs of everyone, all ages, all abilities. And it's a multi-generational experience that we do in public spaces as well as reimagined school playgrounds so that really everybody is part of the outdoor community.
I'm really excited to kind of talk about some of the work that you've done. Delaney, a little bit about your organization, Shepherd Center.
Yes. So I'm with the Accessibility User Research Collective out of the research department at Shepherd Center. So Shepherd Center is a rehabilitation hospital for people with spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, and other neuromuscular conditions. So I personally am a UX program manager for accessibility. So we have a collective of over 1,500 people with disabilities who sign up to become a member and participate in our studies. And we partner up with clients in the industry to perform accessibility user testing for their products and services, or maybe do some user needs exploration with those members.
Okay, yeah, very good. And again, just for the folks here, UX means?
User experience, great question.
Excellent, very good, right? Because we're here, this is an accessibility conference, assistive technology conference, so we definitely are very concerned about user experience. Now, what I find kind of interesting about this entire discussion is we're talking about inclusive design, and I'm trying to figure out what you have to do with playgrounds and what playgrounds for children have to do with user experience. So I need you guys to get the conversation rolling here.
You should have joined us for dinner last night. We answered that question amongst us.
I had a basketball game to watch, but go ahead. Let's go there.
So we really go above and beyond just ADA compliance and auditing. Olenka, she designs playgrounds for children with disabilities, while most playgrounds say they're ADA compliant. And similarly, many items or products that we test say that they're ADA compliant, but they're not really accessible or usable to people with disabilities. And so that's where we step in and gather feedback from people with disabilities about the product, about where those accessibility pain points are, what's working well, what's not working well, so that not only is it compliant, but it is usable and accessible and people want to use it. So that's a little bit about what we do.
And how does that work for you, Olenka, in your organization?
Well, so just to add to what Delaney was saying, so Magical Bridge actually isn't just for children with disabilities. The sort of magic behind a Magical Bridge is it's really designed for everybody, for the whole family, and to her point as well, you know, compliancy, accessibility. We're trying to redefine the word inclusion. Inclusion means everyone, and so that means it needs to work for everyone. I think one of the things that we talked about last night, which we also found was interesting, is that many times developmental ages are not congruent with your cognitive age, right? So for instance, I have a daughter who's 21, and she still enjoys those toys that are typically in the 0 to 3-year range. And so what we found is that the world needs to be a little bit more mindful about ages, the way we define people's needs and interests, and so that's why there is such a need to have thoughtful design whether it's in a playground, a public space, toys, just, the whole world needs to be thoughtfully designed.
Yeah, so already I'm thinking about a number of different things here. Some of the challenges involved between you, Delaney, and the work that you have in understanding an inclusive world in the build, what I call the build environment, traditional ADA buildings, playgrounds, and things along those lines, where a lot of the folks that are here, we're pretty much living in the digital world, right, which is virtual, somewhat fantasy-like, but you guys are really dealing with real people in real settings and trying to make sure that, as you were describing, Alenka, that they're in this context, they're the entertainment, they provide the entertainment value for the individuals who are there, who are participating. So how does that work? You start with a market study, go look at a sampling of users, and run some study. I know how this process works, so go ahead. I don't want to explain it. You tell it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you were starting to describe there was a great mixed method study. So in my presentation earlier today, I talked about the different types of studies that we do. So we do surveys, interviews, focus groups, user testing, usability studies in person or remote. And what you can do is, if you don't know where exactly to start, say you have a product that you want to test or a website or an app, you can come to us and we can kind of guide you in designing a protocol that allows you to explore different features of that website, of that product. We can release a survey to our members that kind of captures the big ideas of what users are looking for in a certain product or service. And then we can drill down deeper. So we could take an answer to that survey who maybe had some interesting perspectives on items and invite them into an interview. So these different types of studies that build on each other, where we can dive a little deeper and ask why instead of just ask them these multiple choice questions. We can ask, how does that make you feel, or why do you feel that way? And really drill down into the reality of their experiences rather than just seeing some data on a spreadsheet from a survey.
Alenka, can you give us an example of something that you're working on currently? Is there a park, a playground environment that you're working on currently, and then kind of walk us through how this is played out, and where are you in the, from concept to, see, I'm talking software release, but the build is right there.
Yeah, so with Magical Bridge, we really continue to iterate because we have found that the playground industry, for the most part, is not really doing enough to meet the needs of the whole family. And so as a small foundation, we are not only creating the playgrounds, but in tandem doing a lot of the research. And so when we do, we are invited to reimagine or do a Magical Bridge in a community. We do have some very specific design sort of standards that we've developed over a decade of research. Currently, we are taking it to another level, so we are partnering. We do a lot with Stanford, and we have a group called One Voice, which are citizen scientists, and so they will be helping us sort of go deeper into ensuring that we are meeting the needs of everybody, because when you're designing a public playground, I think unlike what Delaney does, she has specific items that are created for a family member, like somebody will say, I'd like this toy, can you make it accessible for my child? And then you modify it. So it's a direct request to do something specific. With us, we are doing a public playground, and so many of our playgrounds are visited by over 20,000 guests a month. So that means we have to think about the guests with autism, the guests that have no vision, and a variety of different people. And so the design standards ensure that we do that. And then with each of our playgrounds, we do create new experiences. So one example, you're asking what we've done. Well, one example actually is 1 in 34 people now have autism, and when they do come into a public space, they can feel overwhelmed with the noise, et cetera. And so we were surprised when we found in the catalogs of all the playground manufacturers there was only one item available, and it was this plastic ball called a Cozy Cocoon. So we did the research and found that people wanted something more tactile, something that would be welcoming for a wheelchair user. And so those are the types of things that we do to make sure that we continue to, with each playground, innovate and bring new things, experiences to the community. So it's not a really linear process, but we're always trying to reimagine what could make a place more magical for everyone.
And one thing that we ended up talking about last night was kind of the feedback that she's gotten from her users of the playground. So that's something that it doesn't have to be such a structured research project or study like what I do, but you were talking about how some individuals like certain tones in the musical aspects of your playground that you have. And so I would want to hear more about how you include your user feedback into future renditions of these playgrounds.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yes, it is true that it is important to get feedback, and we get it whenever we can, and we seek it out. And you know, even as one individual once came, right, and in her wheelchair, and we have a lot of wooden bridges, and the slats were sort of one direction, and she said, well, I really need them to be this direction so that when I use my walking cane, I can feel it smoothly. And so just that one comment, we've redesigned everything now moving forward. So we really take it very seriously when people bring something to our attention, and we feel that it's important to do that research ongoing, really.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So conversation-wise, you guys have been talking, but can you give me an example of something that your team has done or worked with Olenka's team, and how did that work out? What was the end result?
Well, we were meeting for the first time yesterday. We were actually delighted to be placed on this panel today, but we haven't really worked together yet. But that is that what you're saying? What we've done together?
Yeah, I wasn't sure
Yes.
if you already had a relationship.
No, but we look forward to it. I
Okay.
think we will be working
Well,
together.
let's
This
get
time
this thing
next year, we'll
going.
meet with you and tell you about it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, unlike a lot of folks that are here dealing with, robotics and AI and technology, you're dealing with the build environment. So we have our own set of compliance guidelines that we have. When you're in California, you've got an additional set that you have to go to. California is a little bit more stricter, especially even around their build environments, which is pretty much what you're having to address. So give the audience some idea of what kind of consideration or compliance guidelines that you have to address and deal with as they relate to accessibility to people with disabilities or children with disabilities.
Well, so ours is sort of interesting because the ADA law does mandate compliance, of course, of access for wheelchair users, and there's some other specifics to it. But what we have found is that while about 10% of people that do have disabilities are wheelchair users, 90% that have disabilities may have multiple disabilities or autism or visual or sensory or any number of things that at the moment are not really being addressed by the ADA law. And so for that reason, that's why with our foundation's work, it's really important that we do the research at the same time, and we consider a playground sort of like the first outdoor classroom somebody experiences. And so that's why we do have the visitors we have. We are sort of studied as universal design because we are trying to meet the needs of everyone, regardless of the legal mandates. We're sort of doing not what's only legal, but also sort of what feels like it's right for us. And so until the law catches up, I feel like we're creating our own standards. And so we do have cities approaching us asking not for accessibility standards, but Magical Bridge standards, which really do incorporate we try very hard to incorporate everyone's needs.
So you're hitting the minimum standards, the minimum criteria of what the laws, like the Access Board requires through their architectural burial compliance guidelines, but because they're not all inclusive, right? That's exactly what I hear. You're going above and beyond that and making sure that you accommodate those with cognition disabilities, those with other disabilities that we otherwise wouldn't necessarily even think about in terms of, well, why does a child with autism need some special accommodation to be able to go into a park? Let them go play, right? That kind of a thing. There are things that have to be done.
Well, and our goal is that a family can go somewhere together, right? So I fell into this very organically, my own personal needs, and my daughter is now 21, and so I want to go with her to the same place I go with my other daughter. And so family members, it could be a parent, it could be a grandparent. So we really do pride ourselves on being that multi-generational space. And then with our companion programs, we continue to support the notion that it is for all ages and all abilities. We have a lot of activities that invite older adults. So we're trying to shift the optics of a playground being for little kids. And we build community connections in that way and break down those physical barriers that then lead to the social barriers that many of us face.
Yeah, I think it's very important to break down those social barriers. I'm thinking of a study that we've done recently with a quick service restaurant where we tested out their kiosk. And I don't know about you guys, but I've heard a lot about kiosks this past week and the need for user testing and the need for screen readers to be able to use it. But we looked at the accessibility of a kiosk for people with low vision, so people who needed magnifying glasses or some sort of magnification for that to work. And we also user tested with people in wheelchairs who might not be able to reach the very top of that kiosk screen. And I think it all comes back to, tying in their feedback about, like, I'm not the expert in their experience, they are. And so our job is to really showcase to these companies, like, this is the problem, like, watch this video of this person who can't reach the very top of the kiosk. How does that person feel when they can't access the same thing that their peers can? And it's really important to showcase that in order to drive change. Numbers only get you so far, but when you see somebody struggling to access something that you might be very easily able to access, like, that really makes an impact and drives change, in my opinion.
I'm sorry, one thing Delaney and I did talk about last night that we believe this audience will agree with is that many times full participation by us all is not based on the ability or disability, but on poor design or unthoughtful solutions that are out there. So many times, you can afford to go into the store and buy the store out, but because of that extra step or that extra barrier, you're not able to get in. So thoughtful design, whether it's through the toys, there's any number of things that we've heard about this week where thoughtful design could improve accessibility for everybody, obviously.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I want to talk a little bit about the field study sort of notion of this, but I really want to compliment you on that, Olenka, because my wife, my first wife, she had brain cancer, and long story short, I had to start thinking about accommodating her in the home. And the home that I had acquired and bought for her, which was one level, was quote-unquote ADA compliant. But my background, I walked through the house and I realized no ramp in it. The hallways, the doorways were actually not the maximum width that they could have been. Walk into the bathroom, no grab bars, things around it. So all of these things, this is the kind of thinking that we need to do in order to accommodate. It's not just a matter of being creative, but in many cases it's being inclusive and pragmatic in how we approach it. And I imagine when you envision, this park, and I keep referring to parks, I know you do more than that, but when you're looking at that, you're looking at that wide spectrum of how I can build this whole thing and deliver a very creative but inclusive environment for the families, as you said. So I think that's really commendable. So Delaney, tell us about or walk our audience through a field study. Let's, just for the sake of example, because I know you just talked about this. So the kiosks are everywhere, right? Every airport that you go into, you go to McDonald's, they're in the kiosks. We're interfacing with them, whether it's an ATM type kiosk. I know how they're designed, but walk our audience through a study. What does it look like? How do you involve the stakeholders, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So when clients come to us asking about usability testing or user testing of their products, it could come from a range of starting points. Maybe they already have a protocol designed and tasks that they want our users to try out, or maybe they don't even know what features they want to test out. So we provide those consultation services of, okay, let's look at this product, let's look at this service and see, where there could be some accessibility pain points that we would want to test out. And in other cases, some companies may come to us and say, we know exactly what we want to test, let's do this, this, and this, and they have all the questions laid out. So we really work collaboratively with our client to get on the same page and gather the data that they want to get back in order to improve their device or their product or service. From there, we then agree on inclusion criteria. So some people want users who only use screen readers or users who only use magnifiers. And that's when we go into our database of people with disabilities and we filter out for their inclusion criteria and we reach out to them. Since our database is already pre-validated, we have a very quick turnaround time for our recruitment. So it takes about 2 weeks at a minimum to find participants, whereas if you're doing original recruitment, that means just sending emails out into the void and hoping to get a response back, you might get 1 in 20 respond back, whereas we have pre-validated participants who have proven to us that they are great participants and give great feedback, and so we already have those kind of at our fingertips. And so when we call them or email them, we get them scheduled for either whatever it is, an interview or user testing session, and then we go through that protocol that we agreed upon with our client with them, whether that's in the field or online over Zoom. And then we gather that data and return it to our client and show them kind of where our participants and our members are coming from with their feedback. Again, I am not the expert in their experience, they are, so it's really important to showcase what their experiences are and how it affects them in their lives.
Have you ever conducted a study for a client, felt like, okay, we've got this, performed it, we've got all the user feedback, all the user data, we've done the analysis, and we put together basically probably a recommendations report to our client, slapped it on there, did a little presentation to them, and they said, this is horrible, this is not anything like we've had, well, what we wanted. Has that ever happened to you? And if so, I'm hoping that it does. But if it has, how did you react to that? I mean, has anything that you've delivered in terms of quantifying and qualified data been not what the customer really wanted or what they thought they wanted?
I think there are definitely some cases that I can think of where maybe there was a lot more accessibility issues than they were expecting, and that's a big wake-up call. And that happens more often than you think, where they say, oh, we're ADA compliant, we're good to go, and then they get it tested and it's like, well, actually your users can't use it. And that's a big shock. So it does take a shock factor, but then what we recommend past that is, okay, there's a lot of feedback about the inaccessibility of your products. Let's break it down. Let's break it down into bite-sized chunks and maybe do follow-up studies on one of those features that had a lot going on with inaccessibility. So it's about, yeah, you kind of have to soften that blow a little bit, but it's really important to get the point across so that they are aware and that they can, take actions to make those products and services more accessible.
Yeah, and I've been in a number of these types of studies. Again, from my standpoint, I have folks in front of software interfaces, and they're sure, as you said, this is 508 compliant. This is WCAG compliant. We got this. Our engineers, they know their stuff. And then we do a simple walkthrough of their login screen, and a blind user can't use it with a screen reader. They're pounding on the glass as observers and things along that line. So it happens. But in the long run, what I've also found out is they appreciate the insight because this is clearly, they're not thinking accessibility and not really thinking from the perspective of a user or a person with a disability. Now, Alenka, I can't fathom that in your work you haven't had some great successes. Is there any way you could share maybe one or two with our audience?
Well, we do have a lot of successes we're very proud of. The first, of course, is that right when we started the first Magical Bridge, which was truly an organic, sort of a community-based effort, we were looking for this kind of a playground, one that served the whole family. We didn't see it online or anywhere that inspired us, and we actually exist because of those ADA-compliant playgrounds, which we feel they really miss a lot of opportunities. So when we did the first playground and then were invited to be an example of social impact at the World Economic Forum in Davos, that was a big pat on our back that we got it right, at least made the effort to get it right. And coming out of Silicon Valley, that really resonated with us and inspired us to keep going. And so on a monthly basis, the fact that we see 25,000 guests coming to each of our playgrounds every month, that is the biggest validator for us, and also that we have never been considered a disability playground. We are indeed considered a playground that is cool and fun, et cetera. And so by creating a space that is not defined to be for somebody in particular means that everybody does come, and that's where those magical moments happen. And so hearing from families that can have a birthday party with their kids for the first time, one that's in a wheelchair maybe that one isn't, or a parent that says, I've been able to swing with my child for the first time. I mean, those are the successes that we get regularly, and that's what keeps us going, and we just love doing what we do.
You know what, I like what you just said. So it's not, oh, let's go take our kids and our family to the disability-friendly playground. Let's go take them to the playground. Let's go have fun as a family. And do you get to, feature that? Have there been any news stories? Certainly this isn't going to be the big one, but, on that.
We are in a lot of different news stories, et cetera. So if you ever visit magicalbridge.org, you can certainly enjoy any number of ways that we've been recognized. And we really are very humbled and proud of a very long list of awards that we've received. And we really take that seriously because it means that we are doing something right for the community at large. And then just 2 months ago, we received the award as Best Family Resource by the Regional Center. So that means the families that we really are including for the first time get it, and they do look at us as a resource. So we continue to try to do better, but we are very pleased to be recognized and appreciated by the families we serve.
That's wonderful.
Come and
Congratulations.
visit us, have a play day with us.
Yeah.
Everybody's welcome.
So I'm glad you did that, because what I was about to say, we still have a few minutes here. You have a website. How do we find you?
You can find us in person or on the website magicalbridge.org. And I want to call out a gentleman sitting in the audience some people may know, Ted Drake, who's been the Accessibility Global Champion for Intuit. He serves on our board, so those that don't know me probably know him a little bit better, but really we welcome and we would love to be invited into your communities, really. We have a way to work with many cities outside of the areas that we are currently in.
And you're a nonprofit organization, so I imagine that you probably take donations and things like that will help your organization?
We do take donations, of course, but we also are now able to enjoy projects that come fully funded by cities. We did rely on that initially because we were a new kind of a playground. Essentially, we were sort of a playground nobody really could define. We weren't really a neighborhood playground, one of those cheap and cheerful playgrounds, but we were more of a destination playground, and now we have a lot of ways to serve communities, including the schools. So
Awesome. That's great. Delaney, kind of the same question. You've been in the business for a while. You've been working with users and doing studies with people with disabilities. Can you share one or two successes that you've had, not just as a practitioner, but as an organization?
Yes, there's one series of studies that really comes to mind of something that I'm very proud of, and it was for an online course website where they wanted to improve the accessibility of their accommodation request process. And they came to us and they said, we know our accommodations website isn't as accessible as it could be, which is unfortunate because, you know, the only people who are coming for accommodations are those with disabilities. And so we started out with like a simple interview process where we took users and asked them, you know, what is a typical accommodation process look like to you? What are the types of accommodations that you request? What is the type of documentation that you would expect to be able to show in order to get those documents? So this started about 2 years ago. That was our first study with them. And then we kept an iterative process going with them. So they took that feedback from their user needs discovery interviews and started implementing it into prototypes of their new website. And they went through many rounds of user testing of those prototypes before it even went public, and got published. So that's probably one series of studies that we're really proud of, that they kept coming back to us because they saw the value in that feedback, and they implemented user feedback into the entire design process, where they are now able to say that they have a fully accessible and usable website that, you know, as technology expands and becomes more complex, they're still needing to user test that and make sure that it is compliant and works with new assistive technologies. But they've really put in the work to become an accessible website and one that people can easily use and request accommodations to further their career or learn new skills.
Excellent, very good. Congratulations on that. So as we're winding down here, any last recommendations that you'd like to share with our audience here? Alenka?
Well, of course, I think this audience understands that thoughtful design is beneficial for everybody, and it is either the individual that is living currently with a disability, it's many of us, the bodies we were born with, the ones we live in today, and the body we're going to grow old in, those are different bodies. And so when we design for everybody, we can all rest assured that when our body changes, the world is ready for us. So we just want to reiterate that we really love the idea that inclusion really does need to mean everyone.
Thank you. And Delaney, any last words, recommendations?
Yeah, just echoing everything that Alenka has said. It's really important to inclusively design, and there's something that I like to call, it's called the curb cutter effect, and maybe some of you are aware of it, where when you design something for people with disabilities, it actually benefits like a broader audience than just people with disabilities. So if you think about a curb cut in a sidewalk going into a road, yes, people with wheelchairs can use it, but also moms with strollers or bicycles or skateboards or anything of that nature that needs to get from the sidewalk to the road. So I want to end by saying that inclusively designing really does benefit everyone, not just a certain group, and that to do that, you know, sometimes you always need to get user testing and feedback from the people that you are trying to design for.
Excellent, very good. Thank you both very much. Been very, very helpful to all of us here. Do we have an applause for our two guests?
Thank you.
There?